Let's talk about Beguiled, because that's something that will more me back, to use the analogy. Where were we last time? The kids had gone to, we were in the Space Armada, right? We had the traumatic moment where Shiny's ship turned around and June and her cohorts, thousands, went on past the Paralion demarcation point and off tumbling into the sun to certain death. And then, of course, last we saw Nighthawk and Osira and Ruby. They had gone to Dr. Ashe's house, where he took them in by night, knowing they were on the run. So here we are. We're back to Dr. Ashe's house. It's the morning. The kids are up. They're trying to figure out what to do. They don't plan on staying at Dr. Ashe's house. They feel like they've got to keep moving. They're paranoid. They know that the X and I, the governmental authority, is after them. They're in kind of Dr. Ashe's, what do you call these people? Prepper? He's kind of a prepper. He's kind of got a prepper control room. Yeah, he's a doomsday prepper. So he's got his living room fashioned with old 80s, Atari level monitors with cameras all over the property, basically showing, he's getting ready for doomsday. And so they're in the living room. They're preparing to trying to make a plan of when to leave. And this is when Dr. Ashe drops the bomb on them, saying, you probably shouldn't leave. Osiris says, why? While you guys were asleep, I went ahead and called the police.
You what?
And though you can't see them on camera, they're just out of camera range. Yeah, they're out there waiting for you. Of course, Nighthawk and Osira feel completely betrayed. Ruby, being a robot, is impassive, taking in the information. Dr. Ashe basically uses this song to explain, voicing, in essence, the propaganda of the X and I, that there is no new idea to be had. There is no revolution to be had. Osira's pipe dream of changing the world is a pipe dream. And so Dr. Ashe took it upon himself, thinking he's being helpful, basically saying, yeah, I talked all that hippie crap to you last night, but in thinking about it, I realized that those days are gone. My days were the good old days. Your days are no days. And so it's best you just give yourself up to the X and I. Dr. Ashe's betrayal. Dr. Ashe assumes he understands all the motivations of these children. In essence, he's projecting himself on them, saying, I was like you, and yeah, I believed in the revolution, man, but that shiz is over. And, these people, the X and I, they got this whole thing wrapped up with their fancy computers and GPSs, and there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. And so I can let you guys out of here and you're going to get killed somewhere down the line or imprisoned and tortured, or I can just turn you over. And they gave me assurances, the governmental authorities, they promised me up and down that you're going to be well taken care of and get a chance, and that you won't spend the rest of your life in prison. So I've actually done you a good turn. See, even though I'm completely perverting the values that I've extolled in public and privately all these years, I'm now a hippie sellout, and I'm okay with that because I have a justification. And without pointing fingers, there have been times where the hippies are more than willing to sell out to corporatocracy or technocracy because it suits some other sort of perverted version of freedom, even though these are the very people that told us what freedom was. It's a little bit self-serving. I mean, we've all had that speech, whether it's from our parents or from our grandparents, like, you don't understand. And the answer is, well, the true answer is we really don't understand. Okay, so back to the story, because there is another beat to this thing. So what happens is Nighthawk, being, the less idealistic party of the three. Ruby, of course, is a robot. Ruby's not really thinking about mortality. Nighthawk decides, against Osira's wishes and in accordance with Dr. Ashe's suggestion, Nighthawk decides that he's going to give himself up. So before anybody has a chance to stop him, he's going out the door with his hands up, surrendering to the X and I. He walks around the building into a particular corner. And like I said, if you looked at all the monitors in Dr. Ashe's study, there was nothing to see. This is the movie in my mind. In a long-range camera, there's nobody. Now you see from the right, here comes Nighthawk. He's walking forward with his hands, and here comes the X and I. Well, the X and I doesn't realize, because they're behind the building, they don't think they can be seen. As Nighthawk proceeds forward, surrendering himself, Osira watches with horror, as does Dr. Ashe, watches with horror as Nighthawk steps forward to the X and I. They basically assassinate him on the spot. So that is what this song is about. In storyline, the lyric is from the point of view of Dr. Ashe and the X and I's propaganda. You can imagine both forces singing the lyric. It's the idea of like, you just got to trust the man, because we know better. So the lyric, return the faith, is not return the faith to God. Return the faith is return the faith to Dr. Ashe, institutional structure that's got it all sorted out. We got it. You stick your nose back in your iPad and your little white cube that you live in and just live on.